Well, where do we begin? Where do we begin this hour? We have 48% of the American people believe that we are headed for a Great Depression now. We have people now saying that there is going to be unrest in the streets. We have a connection now to the Muslim Brotherhood. Try this one on for size. The Muslim Brotherhood have changed their name to the, the Justice and Peace Party? Is that what it is? Yeah, the Justice and the Peace and Justice Party. But did you know that the California Teachers Union, which is an SEIU local, has a committee on it, the Peace and Justice Committee, that is focused on the peace and justice in the Middle East? I mean, I'm looking at it here. Whereas violence against civilians, whether in Palestine or Israel, does not and will not serve the interests of peace and the greater humanity of the region, yada, 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 yada. They're talking about here, this is the Peace and Justice Committee of the California Teachers Union, believe it or not, which is coincidentally the exact name of the new Muslim Brotherhood. And SEIU is involved in... at least here in the United States, which is weird, huh?
That is an amazing coincidence.
What a coincidence. Mm-hmm. What a coincidence.
Also, Janet Napolitano has our nation firmly locked down. We all know the incredible job she has been doing, both on the border and with terrorism. I mean, there is nobody.
No, she's working hard. Believe me,
it's locked down.
Believe me, she is working hard on locking this nation down.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Be careful what you wish for.
And a reporter asked her an interesting question yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's
all right,
talking about how maybe we can do security a little bit better at the airports.
Common sense tells me that in most of the cases since 9/11 that we've made arrests, it wouldn't be profiling to discover that most of the suspects or the convicted parties have been men, typically under 30 or under 35, often Muslim. It's not. So my question is it? I guess my question is, how do you square what most people would say if they're just talking to you, that common sense would suggest those are appropriate parties to at least focus more attention on, given that those were the parties that most often are arrested? Not to say that all men under 35 who are Muslim are suspect, not at all. But I guess my question is, why wouldn't the department focus more of its attention on that category of individual who's turned up most often as the suspect?
Yeah.
Well, because you're not using good logic there.
What?
You've got to use...
What? I just have to say... Well, let me tell you this. I don't think you're using good logic there. That's what's happening.
You're not using good logic to use good logic.
That's bad logic. I need a pack of cool cigarettes and maybe some Alka-Seltzer before I answer that question.
It's actual intelligence that you receive. And so you might,
yes.
You know, all you've given me is kind of status. You haven't given me a technique, a tactic, a behavior, something that would suggest that somebody...
When I got a rectal probe last week, what technique, what
Let me tell you about
rectal
rectal
looking
probes.
into about
Let me tell you about it.
What was the deal with me? What kind of behavioral mode were they searching? What kind of database? What intelligence did they have on me?
You're white. You're white. You're a male. You're on the Glenn Beck program. What more do we need to know?
I guess it
Man, can somebody get me a pack of cool cigarettes, please?
Is not a Muslim, but is Islamist, and has moved into the category of violent extremist. Now we have ways
Extremist. Check with your doctor. I've been taking it daily. See the side effects. I take new extremist.
That's for extremism. I take extremist for extremism.
I was thinking about overthrowing the government, then I took extremist twice a day. You shouldn't smoke. I do it anyway.
To make some of those cuts, and they involve the intel that comes in, the analysis that goes on.
Right, like the Muslim Brotherhood's not a problem.
We oftentimes for travelers entering the United States, we won't do what's called a secondary inspection just because they're a 35-year-old male who appears to be Muslim, whatever that means.
Right, whatever that means.
We know from intelligence that if they have a certain travel pattern over a certain period of time, that should cause us to ask some more significant questions.
They slip some extremists in
than if they don't.
So what travel pattern does a 3-year-old blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl have who's traveling from Austin, Texas to Houston, Texas, and they pat her down?
Texas is the key there.
Let's take it to Dubuque, Iowa. An 85-year-old grandmother wearing Depends. Why is she in a wheelchair? Why is she being patted down?
Now that we have
what's her travel pattern?
Now that we have government health care, she wouldn't take the extremists.
Ma'am, you've been to Branson, Missouri 9 times in the last 5 years. Why? Get down on the ground!
Your doctor tells us you won't take the extremists. Do you have intentions of blowing this stadium up, ma'am? Look right into the camera. We're just getting a retinal scan. I find the insanity of what we're doing at one point, and on one hand, we are strengthening this security apparatus so deeply, and on the other hand, we're not using any of it. I mean, they're oh, sure, you want a warrantless wiretap? Sure. You want to follow the guy on GPS? Whatever. But I don't see that being employed really, other than just kind of generally. I don't understand exactly what we need all this new security apparatus for. Don't get me wrong. The country is in danger, and we have extremists inside and outside of the United States of America. That doesn't mean that Muslims are all extremists. I have a very good friend, Zuhdi Jasser, who I think is one of the bravest men I've ever met.
Yeah.
He's really, truly brave. He doesn't need to be an extremist every day.
No.
He doesn't even need to take it, twice a week. He doesn't need to take it at all. He's a good American. And
then there are extremists in a fashion reminiscent of Genghis Khan who don't get a second look.
What is it with these people?
I don't know.
What do they look
What
over
is it with these people?
Yeah, Chasm. Taliban, Pakistan, extremist. Why are we doing that?
That's really the more important question.
Why are we doing this? Yeah, it's more important than the security of the United States. Because you're driving me insane.
I think that's part of it. I think they want
just to bug us.
Just say, Chasm, hey, Janet, you get on TV tonight and you just start talking about it. Extremist.
Call extremists extremists.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if I got on every night and I just said, and the Islamic extremists?
Oh my God.
All right. Can you imagine what they'd say? This guy's the dumbest guy on the in the history of the planet.
If you ever, and I think it's happened, misspell a word just because you're not paying attention.
No, it hasn't happened.
It's never happened.
It hasn't happened.
Never happened.
Never happened.
Never?
Seems like it's
never happened.
I remember it.
Seems like it's
This isn't the spelling you're looking for. Move on.
You've never done this, but if you did do that,
yeah,
I'll bet you'd get some flack for that.
Well, only from extremists.
That's true.
No,
only from media extremists.
They treat it the same way as 57 states. A simple mistake certainly couldn't be.
Yeah.
No.
Remember when we left on purpose? We left the C off for, what was the C?
Czars.
Yes, we left the C off for czars.
Right.
And they went nuts over that.
Nuts. You know what's you know what the solution is? 2 tablets, 50 milligrams a day of extremist, or may I say GBTV.